This is Sunday Sports Extra.
Good evening, everybody. Welcome on into Sunday Sports Extra. Jay Tuss alongside Brady Frederick. And I don't know about you at home, but I am still recovering from last night's thriller at Albertsons Stadium. Boise State comes back from down 17-0 and finds a way to beat the Spartans.
Yeah, it not only was one of the wildest second halves I think we've seen at Boise State, but for me at least, that's the loudest I've ever seen Albertsons Stadium.
That place was awesome last night. The light show on display. It felt like you were watching a football game at a rock concert at a light show. Let's get to the highlights. How about Ty Benefield leading the team out onto the field with the hammer? 37,000 strong in attendance last night to watch Boise State take on San Jose State. Early on, some good defense here. That's Andrew Simpson getting to the quarterback for a sack.
Yeah, from there, the Broncos would start to get rolling on offense. They get a promising drive out the gate. We're going to stick to number 2, who's been carrying the weight of the team. An incredible run, except it's all kind of cut short at the end of it. They knocked the ball loose. Ashton Jeanty had a pair of fumbles on the day in the first half, but it's very safe to say he would make up for that later on.
Okay, so first we start with San Jose State. This is when they would hit Boise State with a landslide of offense right here. Chevin Cordero can't be tackled. He goes into the end zone for the touchdown there. San Jose State jumps on top 17-0 early. Now, this is a week after Boise State blew a 17-0 lead. Could they come back? This would help. Maddox Madsen going up top to the top wide receiver in the Mountain West Conference. Number 80 goes 83 on this play. Boise State finally with a little bit of momentum here, Brady.
Yeah, by the way, that's the longest reception of Emac's career. And like you said, the Broncos finally have some life. The Mad Dog himself would lead another touchdown drive before the half. This time, he's going to keep it himself, sprinting down the middle, meets a San Jose State defender at the goal line and lowers his shoulder to punch it in. So in the final minutes of the half, the Spartans only led 27-14, still very manageable for Boise State after what looked like a disastrous start.
Yeah, but could the Broncos get back in it with their defense? They would get a couple of stops, and then they would go back to Ashton Jeanty, off to the races. How about a 68-yard game before finally being pushed out of bounds? Ashton finished the day with 183 yards from scrimmage. He also went over the 1,000-yard mark this season, and he did so in just 6 games.
Only 3 players have ever done that. They punch it in shortly after that. Taylon Green rolls out, takes it down the sideline, breaks into the end zone. It's the first time since 2010 that BSU has had 2 different quarterbacks rush for touchdowns, and the defense would hold strong. The Broncos keep it marching on offense. End of the third quarter, Taylon Green's going to take a deep shot downfield. It's his favorite target. Eric McAllister pulls it down for a huge gain. He had a career night, 170 total receiving yards. This drive would go into the fourth quarter.
Green would use his legs again, right up the gut, into the end zone. He had 2 rushing touchdowns in the ball game. Moments later, he would add one through the air. Most importantly, though, Boise State comes all the way back to take a 28-27 lead.
Now, this was pivotal right here. 4th down, the Broncos don't kick the field goal. They put it in Ashton Jeanty's hands. He hurdles a man as the Broncos get a fresh set of downs.
So call on that Clydesdale package here, Brady.
We haven't seen it in a while. This is a fun one. Tight end Riley Smith is going to line up in the backfield, and that's where the pass is going to go. Taylon Green throws it to the captain. He gets his first touchdown of the year, and the Broncos go up by 8 points.
So San Jose State would try to put together a drive and rally back to tie this thing, but it would be the Boise State defense. Yes, a team that has struggled all season long on defense answers the call here. Amarion McCoy, the JC transfer, with his first interception at the FBS level, and it could not be a bigger one. The defense pitches a shutout in the second half.
Boise State completes a 20-point comeback to remain undefeated in Mountain West play. The Broncos take down San Jose State 35-27.
We had a fun week of practice. Now how we build off of this and we continue to mature and grow as a family, that will determine, obviously how successful we'll be as we move forward. But I can tell you this, the determination of that team and how bought in that team is, how much they love each other. You don't do things like that if you don't love each other, if you don't care about each other, if you're not willing to fight for each other. Most teams would have folded up. And again, not just the players, the coaches, everybody involved tonight. And again, Bronco Nation was a huge part of that because the stadium was electric. There was one part when the referees came over too and were asking about the volume within the stadium and how loud the crowd was. And can't do anything about the crowd, but they asked us to turn down the volume in the stadium. That's never really happened before. That was pretty cool.
Hey, good problems to have right there. We're going to talk about the crowd more in just a second, but we begin on the defensive side of the ball. The game could not have started any worse or ended any better for the Broncos. They gave up 27 first-half points thanks to 10 explosive plays by that San Jose State offense. The second half, though, was a different story. Surprisingly, there was no rah-rah speech to report at halftime, but rather just an increased accountability amongst the players.
This is a brotherhood, so like we just looked at each other and we just decided we weren't going to lose today. Like we just wanted to do everything in our power, offense, defense. We knew that the first half didn't go our way, but we knew we were beating ourselves as well. So if we just stopped beating ourselves, then we'd just be a whole lot better in the second half. I mean, everybody was up talking from the youngest to the oldest guy. Everybody was just all in. Everybody was all in, and we knew coming in the second half it was going to be a different ball game.
I wouldn't have believed it if I didn't see it with my own eyes. The Boise State defense, they've taken a lot of criticism this year, and honestly, rightfully so, but they answered the call time and time and time again in the second half against the Spartans last night.
Yeah, I mean, it's not like they were just a little bit better. It felt like a completely different team, a different unit, and it really proved something that we wanted to see out of them, their ability to respond. It's something that they preach a lot within the program. A lot of momentum as we get to the rest of the Mountain West slate.
So San Jose State now has never beaten Boise State in the regular season. The Broncos still perfect in the regular season against the Spartans. And Boise State next up will be chasing perfection this week as we welcome in Tom Scott for tonight's edition of the Scott Slant. The Rams still trying to knock off the Broncos. We'll see if the Broncos can remain perfect, Tom.
Yeah, the Rams are 0 for everything against Boise State. And the question is, will they have Torrey Horton this week? As he was injured last night in the 44-24 loss to Utah State. That could be a factor, but as they say, there are no gimmies this year for the Broncos, and so it will be this Saturday in Fort Collins. The last 3 trips to Colorado State have been battles. Here's what happened last time. It was a hard-fought game that the Broncos put away late. Among the guys who aren't here anymore, Hank Bachmeier, now at Louisiana Tech, had one of his best games of the 2021 season, 253 yards, 3 touchdowns, and no picks. And Tyneil Hopper, the tight end who's now at Michigan State, had 1 catch, but it was huge, a 51-yarder for a TD in the fourth quarter to make it a 2-possession game, and that was enough. Among the guys who are here now, Stephon Cobbs had 4 catches, including a third-quarter score that gave Boise State its first lead, and Dimitri Washington racked up 7 tackles in that game but did not have a sack. Getting pressure on Braden Fowler-Nicolosi of CSU will be key for the Broncos defense this week.